So phenomenon intervention is actually when you're able to essentially alter an event or a possibility into another one. Like, it has a great example of it using Ragna in the BlazBlue Chronophantasma Extend Anthology. And it explained it of how, and they had like realities A, B, and C, right? They explained it where if Ragna died in reality A, then it's overridden with reality B to make sure he doesn't die. Then it's shown that a phenomenon intervention has occurred. And in reality C is basically if Ragna didn't die, but yet got injured instead. So these events just basically just kind of overwrite certain events that would happen. I could use Final Fantasy VII as an example. Spoiler territory here for Final Fantasy VII, but I think everyone knows this already, but the death of Aerith. For example, let me use that for example. Sephiroth comes down, he floats out, he just comes down and stabs Aerith with his sword, right? So it basically is over, like a phenomenon intervention could occur and override that to where Sephiroth does come down, but Aerith could see him coming or just jump out the way. Or he could come down, stab Aerith, and she doesn't die from the stabbing. You know, stuff like that. It's essentially just overrides one event with another. And there are a bunch of events that could happen. There are literally infinite amount of possibilities. And there are people who can use phenomenon intervention. Observers, and to a certain extent, onlookers. They have the ability to kind of manipulate phenomena as they want to, but they're not able to overwrite major ones. The only really major things that can actually overwrite phenomena are Amaterasu, Takamagahara, and observers / onlookers. Now with Amaterasu can overwrite any kind of phenomenon. It doesn't have to be, it could be something super minor, or it could be something really major. Takamagahara can only manipulate major events, and observers / onlookers can only rewrite minor events. So yeah, there's kind of like a little balanced thing to go on here. It's like Amaterasu is the top god. Top god, do what it wants, overwrite anything. Takamagahara can only rewrite major things. And observers onlookers can only like really do minor changes and shit. Like, for example, let's use Clavis and Rachel. They were onlookers, and they're able to actually use phenomenon intervention that can stop time, which is actually pretty cool. And they kind of like create this little time space frozen thing where they're like they can halt themselves and other people within there, which is actually pretty cool. And that's funny to me, really. It's funny to me, like not the Rachel and Alucard. I mean, not the Rachel and Clavis thing, but I just find it funny that like phenomenon intervention seems like this super complicated thing, but it's actually pretty easy to understand. It's just overriding one event with something that pretty much changes the outcome of it, you know? Like, I think, I remember that in Chronophantasma Extend, that Izanami has the ability to use phenomenon intervention, and she pretty much used that to kind of, you know, create events to where Amaterasu, now in the boundary, would use her phenomenon interventions to keep changing Izanami's events. And the more she did it, the closer she got to the world. She kept just she was inching slowly but surely away from the boundary and closer to the real world. And then when she was actually close enough to the world itself, then Nemesis Horizon was able to open and bring her through into the real world, which is actually pretty cool. Like, Izanami was like, yeah, I got this, bro. I could change this shit. I'm gonna bring Amaterasu down if I can. If I can, I can bring her down here. So there are actually beings who are immune to phenomenon intervention to a certain extent. Here's where things get kind of wonky, but I can explain this rather easy. So the Chronophantasma. There are actually two versions of Chronophantasma. There are the Chronophantasmas, the Phantoms of Time, which is funny enough, actually, you know, Phantom of Time is actually what Chronophantasma means in Latin. The Phantoms of Time Chronophantasma are characters like Rachel, and they are immune to phenomenon interventions from other observers of sorts. Damn it. And because, I mean, that's just what they are. It doesn't know how. There's a bunch of unknowns to Chronophantasmas. It's unknown how Rachel herself became one. It doesn't know how really her future, because it says that Chronophantasma are those who have had their future changed. And, you know, characters like Ragna, Nu, and Mu, and characters who kind of like, whose death were prevented by certain events, should qualify because their futures were changed. They were meant to die, but they weren't. You know, characters like Ragna, Nu, Mu, Noel, Tsubaki, they were all meant to die at one point. but they never did. So the futures have been changed, but I guess it's different with Rachel, you know. But anyway, Chronophantasma Phantoms of Time are immune to phenomenal intervention. There are another brand of Chronophantasmas called Those Who Should Not Exist, and they are also immune to phenomenal intervention. And the only Those Who Should Not Exist Chronophantasmas that exist is Celica, and the only reason that she exists how she is because she's an anomaly who should not exist in the first place, because she was brought from the past into the future. Like, it was basically like Kokonoe kind of made it like, okay, Celica kind of, my bad, Kokonoe kind of copied Celica's soul that she was when she was an adult in the Dark War. And after Celica died, the original Celica died, this copy was brought into the main timeline by Kokonoe, which created Chronophantasma. And because she's an anomaly, she cannot be affected by any form of observation. And it's so powerful, and it's so wrong, that she can't even be recognized by Amaterasu at all. And she kind of creates like this kind of barrier around her of sorts, where those around Celica can't be observed by Amaterasu. It's mainly why Kokonoe brought her to the future, that like the NOL branch couldn't really be observed by anyone else, and Celica kind of kept Kokonoe around. I'm sorry, Kokonoe kind of kept Celica around. By extension, Kagura, Kokonoe, characters near Celica couldn't get observed, and it's because of, even more so because of this, that people in the embryo who got sucked into the embryo kind of got affected by phenomenal intervention. That's how they lost their memories. But because Celica didn't, she was unaffected and kept their memories, because everyone else got lost there by phenomenal intervention. And because Celica is a Chronophantasma who can't be affected by observation, boom, there you go. She was able to keep her memories. So there is that. There are also other beings who are unaffected by phenomenal intervention to a certain extent, or, you know, able to resist some of it at least. For example, Valkenheim, because Valkenheim exists outside of logic. Those who wield the power of order, like Jin and Hakumen, though I don't know if it extends to everyone who wields the power of order, because by that account, that means characters like Tsubaki and Makoto can also resist it to a certain amount, but I feel like it has to be like a greater amount in order to resist it, like Jin and Hakumen, like especially Jin, you know. But this does not include environmental changes. Like, environments can change, and they can't really no one can really resist that. The environment can't change, and really the only thing that can be affected by phenomenal intervention is a weapon called the Sword Kusanagi, and it was actually a weapon in X-Blaze that grants the wielder the ability to be completely immune to any sort of phenomenal intervention, and it can also essentially cut phenomenal intervention, and the more it cuts, the stronger it gets. So yeah, that's phenomenal intervention in a nutshell right there. Well, I'm out of here, guys. I'll see you all next time. Peace out.